Triage the market. Triage. Hey, Matt, what's going on? HFR from the floor with a new backdrop today. Apparently, Matt, there is no escaping. Hold on a second. Let me get me out of the way so you can really take. Oh, the Reaper. Is he knocking on your door? What are you holding?
Yeah, Brian Shannon posted this, so we'll shout out to Alpha Trends at Alpha Trends and Brian
at Alpha Trends. Thank you, Matt, because I hate being the guy that doesn't give credit where credit.
Yeah, no, he posted this, and I thought it was hilarious, and it's exactly what we've been saying, which is in a bear market, all assets are one, and we came through a 15-year bull market where all assets were one, so why wouldn't everything fall down? And the latest being natural gas. I mean, on the right side there, UNG, right? That's kind of what he's throwing up there on your the right side for those watching at home. Natural gas went from 960 all the way down to the sixes yesterday, Bob. How about that?
That was fairly news driven, no? As the supposed arch enemy, Great Bear of Russia is still going to supply gas, apparently, along with uranium. I mean, it's a good thing they weren't promoting a golf tour, right?
Yeah. So exactly, and good thing the NHL didn't cancel the Russians, because we wouldn't have had a great semifinal between the two best goalies in the league.
Exactly.
And half the teams would have been empty. Like that's the funniest thing. Like seriously, when I watch NHL and they're so woke, they make all their ice reporters, the guys and gals on the ice interviewing during the game and stuff. They're fully masked still as we go into the final. And and then they, but then you let the Russians play.
Right. That woke narrative gets, it's really hard to keep it together.
But I was showing here, I was here. Let me come back to that. It is, let me see.
See, you got all disheveled. Speaking wokeness. And you lost the chart. You lost your train of thought.
No, I didn't lose it. Natural gas. But I just wanted to share this. When that news hit that, we're going to keep selling to Europe because they need our gas, and Germany, and
they were saying, yes, we'll keep it because we need to cook schnitzel. And
so look at how brutal that is. Like, so if you, and people just, I mean, forget about the sell-off. Forget that it was 960 last week. Bob, this move, before the fall, basically 880 down to $7. You tell me, what's the math on that? $1.80 from $1.80 is 10, it's like 25%. Like in a minute. Look at that. In a New York minute.
What time frame was that?
That was 6:15 a.m.
That was the 5 minute.
This is the 5 minute chart. This is a 6:15. Look at that. They
couldn't get out. Screaming, a lot of yelling. Actually, Zoom thankfully just cut that out. We couldn't even hear it because
really?
Yeah. Thankfully, Matt, we've been watching a few family films, VHS documentarian films of the family when they were young, and that exactly chart formation is why I did not have a voice for a decade, 2 decades. Got busy, you'd scream and yell, and I had a hoarse voice for most of the 80s, 90s, and aughts for sure. Not able to do much, but hey, Matt, you shared this, and let's take a look at it because we like to keep things light, and you shared this. Market Vital sharing. Cabin crew says passengers on newer planes are breathing in farts and coughs. And I responded, try riding a metric train after a Chicago Bears Monday night game. You want to talk about
with all the Chicago beefs.
That somebody right away tweeted back to Cook and Bratwurst. Yeah, beers and Bratwurst. And then that Metro train on a Tuesday morning after a Bears Monday night.
That's an explosive situation.
Good Lord. It is just explosive. Oh my God. That is something to behold. Anyway, there's not much price discovery we can glean from that little.
Well, no, that's not true. We haven't looked at, hold on a second. I'm going to change your mind on that. We can actually take a look at Boeing, which, since Grandpa has made just an amazing comeback. Boeing's had a huge rally here. I don't know if you've seen this in the last 2 days off the bottom. Look at this. So I think it
took out its COVID lows, or no?
Good
Let's
question.
fractal out. I mean, that's our mantra, and has been for a while.
Close. Didn't quite get there.
Although it did get to the resell off from the bounce off the COVID lows.
The resell off from the bounce.
I mean, so that you made the low, it came back, and then it made it another attempt at the low. Yeah, right there.
Yeah, but it's like 87's the low. So I mean, I think it's still going to go here, but it's having a nice little, resurrection rally today. I don't know what you want to call it, resurrection. Maybe it's because Grandpa saved Detroit. By the way, did you see that?
You did share it, and amazing, Matt. Why don't you share that? Because
just speaking of ridiculousness, like, who is this guy? Where does he come from? Like, what planet is he from? Hold on, let me kind of turn this up. It's short, it's 15-second video. Hold on.
The people we come from. Like when President Obama used to always give me the good assignments. Well, I remember one day walked in on a joke and said, "Joe, fix Detroit." I said, "Okay, no problem." No, you think I'm kidding?
All right, Matt, pause that for a second.
Kidding. And the people we come from.
Because he slighted you and Detroit.
And he's speaking in front of the largest union in the world, the AFL-CIO. So I don't know.
Let's break it down to 15 seconds, like it was a sports.
I don't know if he was in Detroit and given that, but there had to be some discomfort if he was.
First of all, Matt, he said sarcastically. We know sarcasm on this show.
Yeah, and he said
he
was also mocking, his boss, giving him all the good assignments.
Yeah, good assignments, and then the sign of the cross, like even God can't save Detroit.
Yeah, and you're not a Catholic anymore, Joe. So F off.
All right, we had to bring it in. The Reaper's everywhere today. The Reaper is everywhere. Matt, let's go to your favorite thing, and this is Alex Pitty. He says, "I've seen a few tweets of people saying." They sold Spotify near where it's at now. Never seen any legitimate points made. Kind of just gave up. That's why I want someone to ask ARK why they sold. I thought he was talking that he needed that reason. And ARK for sure, maybe they got some redemptions, right? And it's forcing their hand. We talked about this yesterday. You could still believe in a company, and if you have redemptions, you have to sell that stock.
Yep.
He says, I'm talking about individual investors. If you're talking about ARK, they sold it as a percentage of their portfolio. Again, redemptions. I said, we will cover the chart on Market Vitals today. Honestly, have not looked at it in a while. He said, chart isn't really unique. They all look similar. And I said, which you don't see, just like Carson, we just need material. I'm looking for content all the time.
Yeah,
so I don't care. I don't care if you don't think the chart's unique. We're going to look at it.
But hold on, this is a good subject, because what you're actually saying is, this is what people don't understand. Selling and buying both ways beget buying and selling, right? Until they don't. And so I think the important thing to say about these redemptions is, even though, because I was thinking, like, this has popped into my head when you said this, Melvin Capital, right? They went out of business. You want to, and I just realized why, because I was asking you before, and I really just realized why. Because what happened in a year ago when all the meme stocks were going crazy, what happened, Bob?
Any short seller.
No, they got redemptions from their investors.
Right.
Because they panicked. Right. So even though smart money isn't, smart and big money aren't really, they're not the same. Big money in a hedge fund, because you have to be an accredited investor to be in a hedge fund.
Just because you're big money trading.
Just because you're big money does not prevent you from being retail. And I think this is an important subject that people don't understand. So yeah, you have mutual funds and you have all these things, and they're telling you to buy and hold. But guess what? People panic. They panic whether they're in a short fund or in a long fund. And when that happens, redemptions come in. And the redemption side for a short fund like Melvin Capital was they had to buy, not sell. They had to buy at the highest prices. That's what took them out of business. It wasn't, I mean, if they could have been patient, it's no different than The Big Short. If you've seen the movie or read the book, if the investors would have been patient, they were absolutely right.
And they would have
They
been
were
paid. They would have been paid handsomely.
They would have paid 120x, you know, whatever, huge.
Right on.
Those that stuck it out with Michael Burry killed it. And it's no different, you know, with Melvin Capital. Like they were spot on, but they had squirrely investors that were chasing fast money. And all of a sudden they're like, oh, these guys don't know what they're doing, even though they didn't look at it. Like if they would have looked at it, some people did, like Cohen put his money up and I bet you he got his money out, but he came in later. It was the Warren Buffett move. I'll make money, then you can close it. And those that, you know, bailed early, they're the ones that bought the top, but I bet you he made money on that second tranche. So anyways, I was just thinking about that.
Well, let's take a look at Spotify because, you know, let's talk fundamentally. We both think it's as solid a platform as possible, right?
I mean, I've been using Spotify since 2005, 6, 7. I can't even tell you how long I've been using it.
The earnings seemed pretty good back in April. There was the whole woke world backlash against Joe Rogan, a la.
And he just picked up more subscribers and
right, exactly.
more listeners.
But there's a couple nuances. You go first as the market is cratering.
Well, it's not cratering today. Let's be, you know, we're just waiting for for Guffman and the Fed here in an hour. So, you know, we're actually up considerably today. But yeah, let's take a look at Spotify. It is trading 104. The low is around 86. So it's up. It is up considerably, Bob. It's off the bottom. And by the way, the COVID low, which we've been, you know, we're using this kind of metric, was 113. So we are still below the COVID low here. And this has only been trading publicly since 2018. So it's only been public for 4 years. So we took out all these lows previously. We made all-time lows in Spotify. You're looking at a market cap of 20 billion, just shy of 20, trades well, you know, a couple million a day. So it's liquid. Earnings have been nothing but going hockey stick. They're going up. The income statements, you know, straightening out here. These are the annualized. I mean, look at this. This is like, you know, this is what is this? Well, like, you know, 48 up to 128, you know, 4 billion to 12 billion in the income statement. I mean, so their books are looking good. They're losing money still, down for the year, or down for the month, down for the week, down for the 3 months, down 56% year to date, 57 in 1 year, right? So a lot of time spent up here. I don't know, like everything else, I still think, even though we've taken out the COVID low, it's not a buy for me necessarily either, but it's a lot better at 85 to 100 than it was at 387. I can tell you that much.
For sure, you know, and if you are ever out on the road and aren't able to watch Market Vitals, right? Our podcast is on Spotify.
It's on all the channels, but Spotify, I was saying to you earlier, is the one that we get, and that includes iTunes, that includes, you know, Apple Podcasts, that includes Google, Samsung, Amazon. We're on anywhere you want to listen to a podcast, you'll find us. So whatever your thing is, iHeartRadio, whatever, you can find us everywhere. But the platform that gives us the most listens is Spotify.
Right on.
And I think it's because it's an intuitive. You can search by name. It's really, you can type in Market Vitals and it'll find you real quick. You know, and I recommend find us on Spotify.
Hey Matt, it does come with a warning from the FCC, because several people have said that what they love about our show is it puts them to sleep. So if you're driving,
yeah, please don't listen to our show.
No listening.
Well, actually, don't listen to more than one at a time.
All right, Matt, let me share if I can, because I want to point out, and this is a perfect educational opportunity here for the nuance of standard deviation trading and patience. And this is Spotify, and this is the weekly. And again, man, it rolled over. We got lower potentiality on the momentum lines. And so, yeah, maybe we can close out of lower momentum. That is for sure healthier. But for me to really be gung ho about it, you need them to fully round. You need a fully rounding bottom, and you need to change the slope on these standard lines.
By the way, who doesn't love a fully rounded bottom?
100%. I think I'm going to bring that into a song lyric soon. Fully rounded bottom by HFR. Matt, and this is the same setup.
We had Queen and fat bottom girls, but this is, it's 2022.
Hold on, I got to write that down. Fully rounded bottom.
Yes.
Okay. Fully rounded bottom. We got it. It's coming to a song near you. Matt, patience. And it's the same thing for the Bitcoin chart. It's the same thing for the indexes. It's like you cannot tell the bull story until this thing rounds and you change the slope of the standard deviation lines. We have never, ever in the history of mathematics seen something go into a bull market with negative slope on the standard deviation lines. That's all there is to it, no matter what fucking time frame you're talking about. So be patient. You like Spotify, you like the story, you like listening to podcasts, you like Joe Rogan.
Let it prove itself.
We got time.
I've always said this to people. Whatever time frame, whatever thing you're trading, you don't have to catch the knife. You're going to be bludgeoned to death before it actually turns. So just let the thing turn. Miss the first 10%. Who cares? Let it prove itself. Whatever the thing counts. And I'm just throwing 10% out because maybe on a day trade it's a 0.5% or whatever. You know what I mean? But
I know what you mean.
Mm-hmm. Fully rounded bottom.
Know it. I wrote it. All right, Matt. We have we got to do no, that's not the right World Economic Forum one. We got to do this one because this was more recently breaking. Hold on, I'm all disheveled here all of a sudden.
Maybe the fart problem is because people are eating more bugs.
Yeah, bugs give you gas. Let's just say that.
Well,
World Economic Forum, Matt, convincing the world that psychologists say life doesn't have to be happy or even meaningful. Let's not forget that. Brought to you by the World Economic Forum.
Like, are they trying to increase the call volume to the suicide hotline? I'm not sure what's going on here.
I don't know, but I wanted to bring this up because we got a lot of chatter today because a heavily Democratic congressional district was won by a Republican in Texas, definitely Texas, by a white supremacist. Actually, no, she was a Mexican-born woman that won as a Republican in Texas, in a district that Hillary took by 22 points and Uncle Joe took by like 16 points. So a major shaking of the base.
Well, maybe those voting machines weren't installed for this particular.
Maybe not, but Governor DeSantis, I just want to make a little point here about politics, and we're going to get the price discovery because it leads directly to it. DeSantis, who is 43, still owes $21,000 in student loan. What community college did he go to anyway? And his net worth is $318,987, far lower than many top politicians. Like, he doesn't trade. He apparently is not in it for the money, which is strange because mostly politics is. And I bring that up because my former home, Illinois, and Governor Pritzker now saying that he wants to maybe throw his hat in the ring for the Dems, a billionaire, right? And has done great things for Illinois as we see another major corporation leaving Illinois because it has so much to offer, apparently not. And I thought the interesting thread here was one of the things that they said is the talent pool in Texas is just way better for them. Matt.
Yeah, and this is what was I reading? This is the 53rd Fortune 500 company to move to Texas, Bob.
At some point, you'd have to say that maybe
I've lost my video here. We got that situation. Z is looking at it. Apparently doesn't like my mug.
All right, let me share because I'll go to the cat.
Yeah. Well, I can share. I may be able to share a chart. Let me try that.
Share the chart.
Can you see that?
Yes, of course we can. We just can't see you, which is probably better.
It's better. Nobody
Matt gave you a face for radio.
That's right. A voice and or Spotify for that matter. We were talking about what were Caterpillar. Yeah, Caterpillar. Again, Pritzker, saying, "Oh, we're disappointed that they're going." He obviously knew they were going, but that's how many employees? I mean, there's got to be 50, 100,000 employees in the state of Illinois. It's another reason don't let the door hit your ass on the way out, because people are leaving Illinois left and right. That's going to help their tax base and their.
No, I mean, you want to talk about butterfly effects.
Yeah.
These
But
butterflies.
look at this chart. It hit a high of 247 along with everything, and it's kind of hung up here because, infrastructure, I think, is the reason. Like, people still think this is going to happen, but again, I'm pretty much going to guarantee that this won't happen. There won't be any infrastructure bill during the Rupert the Monkey Boy years. I just don't see it happening. So once that is realized, I think the bottom falls out again. Once you get below, say, 180, this thing's going to go all the way back down to 130. And the COVID low, by the way, is 87. So you want short opportunities. This is one. I mean, we're up a little, we're down today on the move, but that's not news.
It for sure has put in a beautiful bracket, like so many things that you have bracketed and showed us over the past couple of years.
Yeah.
A fantastic ping pong bracket, and wait for time and volume outside of it. It's pretty straightforward.
I mean, it's really straightforward.
No man's land directionally right now.
Well, right. You sell up here, you buy up here, and then you reverse on the breaks. But again, I don't see it going up here anyways. So it's only going to be on the breakdown. So when the thing breaks, like I said, the old low was like 180, 179. So you can either wait for that to get taken out on a close. But the problem is with waiting for that type of strategy, again, I would buy puts. I would just buy puts and in the money puts, buy 250s. So like the high is 247, buy the 250 puts. You don't have to sink as much money, and buy them 9 months, year and a half out, pretty far out. Because between now and then, it should happen.
Right on.
As the economy continues to teeter, this should also teeter. And we're basically forming a nice rounded bottom on the top.
All right,
turn it upside down, and it's a rounded bottom. You can always find a nice rounded bottom.
Rounded bottom. All right, Matt. One other thing I wanted to bring in here for our viewers to think about, and that is, I'm not sure if people were aware of this or saw this. I certainly was not aware that there was not a good travel between these two countries. And this is while the U.S. is busily impoverishing the EU and imposing sanctions that hurt their economy, Russia and China are opening their first automobile bridge across the Amur River between two countries to start cargo traffic that will boost trade turnover to $200 billion. If you're not paying attention of the Russia-China and maybe Russia had thoughts about being more like the West. They for sure are commodity rich.
Yeah.
China needs commodities, and
they're good partners.
They have not been historically friendly, by the way.
No, because they're so close to each other, and they like to rattle cages and do all that stuff, of course.
But this for sure is going to be able to.
This is a game changer, and obviously we know that China is patient. I mean, these talk about waiting for the setup. These guys are building for the they're building for the future. Their stock market, everything's in the shitter right now. They got people locked down in half the big cities still, but they don't care. They know that the long game is where it's at. They're not day traders. They're gamblers. They're gamblers, but
we covered this maybe a week ago, maybe 2 weeks ago. The yuan ruble. Again, if you're trading FX and you want to trade something not dollar denominated, although that has been a great trade that we have pointed out for months on end. The yuan, Chinese yuan, Russian ruble cross, and talk about something that this bridge depicts perfectly, Matt. And I'm going to share that chart, and then you can share the same chart. And I got, again, this is the 3-day. When the war started, it went to almost 22, 23, 24 yuan to the ruble. It's down to 8.5. And I think the interesting thing here is the trajectory here. Now, it looks like it wants to be maybe forming a bottom, but I don't know. This bridge tells me that there's going to be a lot more demand for rubles.
Well, and it's because they're the commodity holder, as you said.
Exactly. So long term, I think this chart is a bounce, but anywhere back to, and I'd like to hear you. I mean, I think the 1080 level, which was the lows that it sat in for, I don't know, a couple of years. There's got to be a profile level around there. Bring that up. It's CNYRUB.
These Forex don't really have good profile data though. So as you can see, that's why I recommend people don't trade the Forex pairs. Even though this may be more liquid than some, it's still dangerous, right? I mean, it's pretty illiquid. It's kind of in the.
Well, I mean, okay.
That's all.
Yeah, but what is it? What is that? It tried to build it for you.
Yeah, it's trying to build it, but again, that's basically where it's traded forever, right? So I'm just trying to. I don't know why it's not bringing up these longer time frames.
Sometimes, believe me, sometimes trading views get some wonky data.
Well, and it's because it's a wonky pair too. That's why that's kind of my point. So, yeah, but again, have we found a bottom? Maybe not, because we've been lower. I mean, even in 2014, it's been all the way down here at 5, and it's at 850. So, this thing started in 2013. When they released the yuan, I'm sure, and that was $5. Went from 5 to 25. You had a 5-bagger. Again, for me, obviously the Russian situation is beneficial to them today, but that could shift back the other way, no doubt about it. Once they kind of have contracts and acquisitions to these commodities, then it might shift back the other way when they start making stuff to sell to Russia.
Right on.
Right. That makes sense.
The Russian market actually wants.
Yes.
Right on.
Because they got, at some point we're going to sanction Chinese goods, and we're going to, resident zoo is going to F with them, and that's not going to work. And they'll sell their stuff to Russia because they're going to have all our money anyways, because they're charging, $200 a barrel for our oil that we can't drill anymore.
All right, Matt.
But it will be Putin's fault for sure.
All right. What else do we got, Matt? Anything else? We can't see you, so you don't get to talk unless you bring up a chart. You can talk. I was gonna throw up this chart. This just came on while we were talking in the show. Just to continue the live PGA. Now the USGA is kind of falling into line. This is so funny. They're like, "Come on, can't you say something nice for us?" You can even see it in this press release. Basically, is what this is. The CEO says he could foresee the day when it became much more difficult for members of that tournament to play in USGA events. Could, but not today. We want them. We want DJ. We want Phil. Anybody who's, got a name like that, we want them for our US Open this week. So, but he could see it. He could not too, though. They could have easily put. They easily could have put. He could not see this. It means the same thing. Actually.
I mean, it's the same thing. That's why I said this PR is just blah, like this. But we should also do a show on how to read, critical thinking and misinformation in press. Like, this is how you read something like this.
Especially, Matt, when you throw in that word sarcasm, which our show is laden with. Sarcasm, guaranteed probably everything. By the way, this is not trading advice. Everything on the show is guaranteed probably.
He says, we've been doing this for 127 years, so I think we need to take a good long-term view of this. Okay. It's not going to be
what the long-term view ultimately is going to be.
Money, money, players.
Exactly.
So guess what? Guess who's got the power in that situation? Not the PGA, ultimately it's the players. If you want to pay them free market prices, go ahead.
Bingo. And who else has a say in it is the public, because if nobody watches, they all go bankrupt. They only have sponsors because they have eyeballs. And if the Live puts together a better format that people want to watch more and give their eyeballs to it, guess what? Fine. The USGA, you know what it can become? It can become the NIT tournament. That's what it can become.
Right, exactly. Exactly. I mean, you can call it the Live USGA and people would go, right? If that's where the players are, they'll go. It's pretty basic. And again, these controlling interests, I mean, and you even see it locally now, right? We talked about this, like, now that Live Nation owns our outdoor amphitheater, the good side is now we go from 15 shows a summer to 70. The bad side is you can't bring in your own chair, blankets, backpacks.
You can still bring in your own edible though. They can't pat you down that well.
No. You have to take everything. No, but it is a total take everything out of your pocket. So like my concealed gun came out and, it was a little uncomfortable, but.
Can you bring a gun into a show here?
I don't know.
I mean, it's an open carry state, so you can walk around downtown with your 6-shooters on each hip.
I don't think anybody could stop somebody from doing that.
The first time one of the first times I went cross country skiing here up in the mountains, and we pull in the parking lot, and this guy's coming off the trail, and he's got a 38 on his side. I'm like, what? Come from Chicago. I'm like, what kind of trails are these?
Not from around here, are you, boy?
Like, what do you need a 38 for on the cross country ski trail? I don't know.
Well, there's animals everywhere. I mean, didn't you see that zookeeper that got mauled by the tiger yesterday?
No, but it's a part of me always smiles when anything negative happens at a zoo. That's just me. Anyway.
You mean to the zookeepers?
Yeah, exactly. I'm not a big fan of the zoo. In the White House either. All right, Matt, that's all we got. We need to see your face. We need to read. Lee's saying absolute maybe is another moniker for us here.
Absolute maybe.
Absolutely maybe.
Absolutely positively maybe.
Yeah, that's what the old man used to tell me if I asked for the car keys.
Lee could have a chance of, doing some writing for us. Could.
Yes, we are looking for writers for the show as we go mainstream. All right, Matt, that's it. Tomorrow on the show, we're covering Buzz Lightyear and the incredible kerfuffle all around Buzz.
All right, so let me ask you game 1 tonight. Lord Stanley kicks off in Colorado. Colorado's had like 17 weeks off.
Yeah, and they're at altitude. I kind of like the Avalanche game.
I mean, they're young, they're good, they're deep. They're really the best team in hockey. They have been all year.
Yeah, I'm going there. And
it's hard to bet against them, but I'm still going to be rooting for my Tampa Bay Lightning because, they took care of the hapless Rangers.
Lee, there's no reason for that. There's no reason for that. The Rangers had a great run and a great season.
Bring back Messier 1 year. Bring him back.
Matt's just angry that Detroit got so slammed by the president.
It's true.
The unsavable Detroit.
It's true. Well, the Democrats did do a great thing in Detroit before they bankrupted the city, which is all true, by the way. They did create the people mover. So speaking of trams, and I know that Longplex always likes to talk about, don't sell me a tram.
Monorail. Yeah.
Monorail.
Yeah.
Thank you. Monorail.
Yeah.
So there is a monorail for all you people that, have not been to Detroit. Next time you visit, hop on the people mover.
All right. That's it. We got to
I think that was a cool couple billion spent in the late 70s, 80s on that project. And I think all year it gets 33 riders, but it runs every day.
Nice.
Because there's really nothing that stops it.
Hey, Lee, I got a joke for you that you can tell Matt. All right. It's a knock joke. I'm going to play Lee here, Matt.
Okay.
Knock.
Who did?
Argo.
Argo who?
Argo, fuck yourself. Anyway, feel free to use it. Now we just lost the kids' audience. All right, Matt, that's the show. Please visit us, marketvitals.io. Please share, retweet, plagiarize the broadcast far and wide. We'll be back at it tomorrow. Strap your seatbelts on as the Fed is going to announce here in a little bit.
Yeah. So what do you think? We got 38 minutes till the news, and then we will go up and down.
Now, you know what? Bring up that chart. Bring up the beautiful NASDAQ chart that you shared, and the hole that possibly will get filled here on who cares? Here's one thing I'm confident of. Everybody will scratch their head and try to explain what they did, and then the response the market had to it, because nobody knows.
But this is why I don't like to even trade this day before and usually after. I don't. This is not my game. It's not how I make money.
Bring it up. Bring up the necky.
And you must, this is where I always say, you must know your limitations as a trader. And I'm not read the FOMC minutes and revisions. I could care less. I'm never going to read one of these. I've read them all. I don't even understand what they're talking about. They don't know. It's just like a bunch of adjectives and verbs. slashed together and you're going, I have no idea what they're talking about. But here's the deal. I could see us very easily filling the gap from Sunday, gap down, right? We basically closed at like 850, let's call it. We're trading at 523 and we're up, 300 points from the low that we made yesterday down there at 240, 235, whatever it was. And so we're up 300 points, but why wouldn't we double that and mirror that and go another 300 this way? And in the same sense, I'm bidding 11,000 if they decide to sell them. Like I think there's a trade at 11,000. And the reason I say that is on the profile that we're at a key level here as we fractal out. And I'm just going to go to kind of like the COVID low to today, to where we are today. And this area right in here, 10,821. Like we got to, and you see that over on the left here was kind of old lows from September of 20 before we took off into the election, right? That needs to be tested still. And there's some significant highs and lows at that level. So I think we could go to that level. So 11,000 is an even number, but I'll start buying there and I'll buy down to 10.8 because as long as we kind of hold that 10.5 area, I think we're going to bounce, right? Before we go to here. It's just how I see it. We're way oversold. Everybody's bullish, but they're always bullish. So there's nothing new there. I'm just saying it's a possibility that maybe we could get a bounce from down in that level. And maybe the news today, tomorrow, and Friday, which we still have a lot of maneuvering going on, and we have the rollover finishing, et cetera, right? We got the S&P revision, we got the end of the month, we got the end of the quarter options all coming into play. The momentum is clearly downside, so why wouldn't we go a little bit further through today and the end of the month? But I'm prepared for it to also shoot the gap to 11.8. And if it goes to 11.8, I kind of want to sell it up there right now.
Right on.
Right.
And as always.
And I'm wrong if it goes, kind of above 12.
Right on.
So you got to kind of sell 11,850 to 12. That would be the level for me, which, by the way, 150 points is only 1%. So if you're legging in regularly, like people like you and I do, I'll leg in sometimes 2, 3, 4, 5%, as long as that's part of my plan. I can sell a little bit more higher or lower. There's ways to do that. And I think people need to recognize that, and if you get shaken out by a 10-point move in the NASDAQ, you're trading too big.
Right on.
You're trading too big. You're just going to get chopped and whipped and stopped all the time.
All right, Matt.
So slow it down, size appropriately, and beware of your risk always. That's your job as a trader / risk manager. That's your job. Always.
The margin Nazi.
Yep.
You should have that little bobblehead on your desk.
Yeah, you want to know the guy, but you just want to, maybe play tennis with him. That's it.
Right. All right, that's it. That's it.
Because the margin Nazi has no net gain. Because he's got a shitty second serve like me.
All right, I'll see you on the tennis courts.
All righty, Bobby.
We got summer here today in Bend, Oregon.
Yeah, I think
I broke ice out of the bird feeder the last 3, not this morning, but the 2 prior mornings. The ice, the bird waterer was frozen over, and it's going to be sunny and 82 today. Beautiful in the desert.
That's what they say. Well, we'll see.
We'll see if we get there.
It's awfully chilly at 55 right now. I got some work to do.
All right, pal. We'll see you. Thank you, Matt.
See you, Bobby.